Hey, welcome back to the garage at the Homespun Days. I wanted to show you what I think is something pretty cool. It's my customized, very DIY Radwagon 4 from Rad Power Bikes. We've made a lot of modifications, and I want to show them to you because I think it makes it more useful, a lot more fun, and yeah, my kids love it. So here it is.
So here's an overview shot of the Radwagon. Right away, you'll notice two things that are pretty different from standard Radwagon, and that is first, we have a BBSO2 mid-drive, and we also have a second battery mounted below the seat where the original controller was. So I moved all that stuff around, so now we have two completely different batteries and two completely different drive systems for this Radwagon. We use this mid-drive for most cruising around, and then we use the now throttle only hub drive when we need to go up hills or that kind of thing, and we need to give it just a little bit more oomph. Starting at the front of the Radwagon, we have a small crate that I threw on there with a 3D printed piece from Thingiverse. So we 3D printed a shelf there, and then we zip tied a basket to it, it works perfectly for like beer or soda or something like that, or carrying around gloves or masks or that type of thing. And then we have this little box on the side for when I'm picking my kids up in the summer, and it's super warm outside. We keep wet rags in there and use those for everything, or keeping cool rather. And there's the main Radwagon battery that comes with it in its standard spot, and then here's the second battery mounted inside the cage. You have to take the back tire off to get it out of there, as well as move the original controller and flip it upside down so that you can get everything in there. But then we just run the wires pretty normally, and everything works out pretty good. You can also see that under the seat I keep a bag, and in that bag is a controller, or not a controller, a charger and cables for both my batteries, so I can charge if we're out on the road. All right. Moving back up to the front here, we have our controllers, or our dashboard rather. Right. We have the standard Rad dashboard here with its odometer and speedometer and everything, and then we have a second mounted rail here for extending the rails or extending the handlebars, and on that we have the controls for the second computer, which runs the mid-drive. We put our light up here as well, and a spot for our GoPro camera, and then a speaker as well. So we've got quite a bit of stuff going on up here, as well as a horn. Let's see if it works here. Oh yeah, there we go. So that works pretty good. Moving back down to the middle of the bike, we have a telescoping seat. So that makes it nice because, of course, the Rad doesn't have suspension, so that's kind of important. And then on the back where the kids sit, we have the seat that we made a while back strapped on there, as well as the cage from Rad. I forget what it's called at the top of my head here, but to keep the boys in there. Now, of course, as they've gotten older, they've gotten heavier and harder to pick up, but they don't really need the safety of the cage anymore. So what I've gone and done is I've put a bar on here so that we can lift this up, and welded that all together, probably pretty poorly, but it's really just for cosmetics mostly. And then you can put it down here and chain that around the aluminum. So that's a steel bar for welding purposes, and then you can go ahead and put the chain on there, and it keeps the kids on there, but also it's just an extra little bit of protection, just kind of gives them somewhere not to go. And of course, we have a cup holder, and then this bag is not zip tied on there rather, but is strapped on there, and I use that bag to take the Rad battery out when I go to the store, so that it looks like it's missing a battery, right? So you'd have to know about the other one if you wanted to steal it, but I figure at least that way I've got one battery if the bike does get stolen. And then finally on the back here, running boards made out of fence board. Those are a little DIY, so it's a little bit less expensive than buying them from Rad, although I did catch a bunch of flack from somebody at a fair the other day when I ran into them because the thing didn't look quite right. And then we've also got a pannier bag on the back there. All right, and then if we're doing cargo, look at that. Sits up there real nicely. Got our logo on it, and the rails keep it in where it needs to be, and that works pretty good altogether. So I can do cargo mode or I can do kid mode. Haven't figured out how to do both really yet. It's not quite big enough. This works really good for taking things to like a donation center or whatnot. So yeah, so that's our ultimate Radwagon. I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's got our dual motor system, our dual battery system, our DIY running boards, and our DIY 3D printed front basket there. It works really well. We're real happy with it, and it's pretty comfortable with that middle seat there.
Hey, thanks for taking a look at our custom Radwagon. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. But of course, you know me, I'm not going to put too many videos out, so we won't bombard you. All right, thanks a lot.